Was there one point where you fell in love with men's tailoring, or was it a progression?
It was the first time when I worked with tweed and canvas. Men's tailoring, it's like molding something to a body.
There's a little bit of fabric here so you can move, but again,
I'm very specific about that. I prefer 1.5 centimeters of movement.
Are you
on
serious?
each side, yes. Oh. I think the most important part about Viennese tailoring is the shoulder sleeve area.
I'm back here at Hedi Rochowanski in Vienna's what Bezirk?
8th district.
8th district, okay. Hi Hedi, thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
You have this beautiful space.
Thanks.
And you spent how many years in England?
Just 2.
Just 2?
Just 2, unfortunately. I would have loved to stay a bit longer, but I was really longing to go back to Vienna too. So,
how would you describe a Viennese style suit?
I think it's definitely more relaxed than the British style, so way less shoulder padding, no rope at the sleeves or just a tiny bit.
When you say rope at the sleeves, you mean on the sleeve head?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically you would fold this fabric this way and this fabric that way, or just...
Yes. Not always, maybe. I think the Viennese style is quite cool because there's not one definite type. Like the British style is quite clear. You know, high shoulder pads, really a nice waist, narrow waist.
Kind of stiffer interline.
Wide lapels. And I think the Viennese style is a bit more, there's a wider range.
More flexible?
Yes, definitely, and more relaxed and quite, it's not...
It's not a suit for show. It's like
exactly.
a suit should be more be worn and be comfortable in. Would that be
Yes. And still you want to look elegant, but you don't want to shout out, look at me, look at my bespoke suit. It's quite relaxed and...
It's quite relaxed. So what about the jacket lapels, for example? Would you say there is a typical length or width?
Yeah, I'd say the old typical Viennese style for the last 50 decades maybe was quite long lapels. The width of the lapels changed, of course, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 80s, it changed. But I think it was always a bit more relaxed than the British and not as stylish as the Italian tailoring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the most important part about Viennese tailoring is the shoulder sleeve area. So the shoulders, just a bit of padding, very soft padding. The sleeves are quite natural, but not like the Italians, they're not, the seam allowance isn't put to the... up to the shoulder.
Yeah.
So the sleeve doesn't break in like some Italian tailors do it.
So on the shoulder pad, it's slightly extended into the sleeve head then?
Yes, a tiny bit. And you want to give a bit of strength to the sleeve by adding a shoulder pad, but not too much. It's not a stiff, hard, very elongated shoulder. It's just a tiny bit to give a bit of strength to the sleeve. And the sleeve head is quite soft too, but there's a bit of wedding in there, so it doesn't break in completely. So,
okay. Well, let's have a look at that.
Sure.
Do you have some jackets to show us?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so it seems like we have a work in progress here.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
So we're looking at a single-breasted, nice Holland and cherry cloth jacket. It's for a customer with a bit of a belly.
Yeah. Are there any Austrian fabrics or fabric
Yes,
weavers
there
left that you
are.
work
So
with?
we have some Austrian linen, Viehberg linen, and we have quite a bit of Loden.
Loden.
Yeah, so Loden is
Felted.
exactly
It's not
the
woven.
typical Austrian wool cloth.
So do people use it only for overcoats or also for jacketing?
Yes, the fine loan, like Tuchloden, you can use for jacketing.
Okay.
Without a problem. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So talk us through maybe top to bottom. What's happening here and what makes it Viennese, so to speak?
I think the most Viennese thing about it is definitely the relaxed cut, but still with a nice waist and very elegant. The lapel width probably, so it's not too wide, it's not too narrow.
What do you got here?
This one is quite on the wide side already for Viennese style, but still.
I mean, I'm measuring like 9
still
centimeters
a normal
here.
width, yes.
It's a little wider.
Yeah. I mean, I always try to cut according to the client's style and posture. So if you do a belly jacket, you probably don't want to have too narrow lapels.
Yeah, because it would proportionally look right.
Yes.
But if you look on here, the shoulder, there's really very little shoulder padding.
Yes.
I mean, it's hardly
So very
anything.
thin
I feel
one.
it. Very thin.
And
then
quite
like,
soft too. So.
This has a bit of a rope.
This one isn't finished yet, so the sleeve heads are not in yet. But it already looks similar to how it will look finished. So there will be some sleeve heads in there, and then a final press will put it a bit down, so it will be a bit lower than it is now.
What I like quite is like the gorge seam is very curved. It reminds me like kniesches is like kniesche lapel, which is more like, straight and then slightly angled down, right? So this is kind of is that typical Viennese?
Yes, I'd say we like soft lines. But, I don't have a typical house style and I prefer to cut for every client. So some clients like a very steep angle, some like a soft curve. And I think it always needs to match their personality and their whole posture, really.
That's interesting because, I would guess, how many customers do you have that come to you and say, I want this gorge seam?
Quite a few.
Okay, nice. Okay, I mean, that's great if they have a good understanding of what they want.
Yeah,
that's
so
perfect.
it's some of our clients, they're very specific about the lapel width, the height of the turn-ups or things like that. They say, it needs to be 4.3 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
Because
On the
all
millimeter.
my trousers have 4.3 centimeters turn-ups. And some say, you decide, you choose the cloth. Quite different, really.
So it's interesting, but you're a person who can work with both.
Yes, yeah. I think both is fun. I think so. My aim is to make a person even more the person he or she is. You know what I mean?
Yes. You kind of try to emphasize who they are.
Yes.
If it's an artist, the suit is going to be different than if you're a banker or a lawyer.
Yes, but also the posture and maybe not the obvious personality traits, but the more subtle ones. I like to.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
According to that.
Tell me more about that. Do you look at the belly or like at the shoulders, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think every tiny seam, every tiny curve, every how much waist you make, how you know what I mean. So if it's very close fitting or more loose, how much wedding you put in the shoulder, the sleeves, everything really, every little detail
matters.
Yeah.
So what about the chest pocket here? Is that a typical pocket that's slightly angled out?
Yes. So I'd say that a typical Viennese pocket, it's not as steep or as
kind of angle as like a Neapolitan. It's not a barghetta pocket.
Exactly.
But you have a slight angle.
A slight angle,
I think a traditional German would be more like straight.
A bit more straight, yes.
Okay, so it's a little more relaxed.
Yes, it's always a bit, the in-between Italian and British style.
So then here you do the dart. It ends on the pocket. And then I think here also the pocket is slightly angled, right?
Yes.
Is that typical?
Yeah, I'd say yes. But again, I think it really depends on the posture and on the client. And some clients say they want angled pockets. Some say, please don't. Anything,
please don't have it straight.
But not angled pockets.
Then if we look at the quarters here, because this would be, the mannequin is a little tight right now maybe. Mm-hmm. How much opening do you see and what kind of, what's the look down here? The Viennese jacket typically.
Again, quite subtle. not too steep, not too straight.
But more closed than open, right?
Yes, it depends on the garment. So if you want a business suit, it will look different than if you cut for a blazer or a sports coat, of course.
How much drape do you typically apply?
A bit, not too much, but enough to move freely, and so you can gain a bit of weight, or you can wear a jumper underneath.
Okay, so if we look at the back, there's a little bit of fabric here so you can move. But again, it's
I'm very specific about that. I prefer 1.5 centimeters of movement.
Are you
on
serious?
each side, yes.
Oh. Funny. Do you sometimes do like, I think I once saw in a magazine where they were like, well, I want you to move a lot. So they added like a gusset in here. So you just got extra fabric and you could move more?
Yes, usually that's just for dancers or actors. But I mean, of course, if a client asks for it, and let's say he's presenting a lot on stages and he needs to point and show and move, you can do things like that. I think that's the beautiful thing about true bespoke tailoring. Everything is possible.
Everything is possible. But then typically in his back, there's no belts or anything.
Yes.
And then you do side vents now, but traditionally probably, was it no vents?
Yes, I think about 100 years ago, maybe traditionally it was no vents, but I think about the vents, it's a style question, but it's also according to the posture. So,
and I mean,
most people prefer side vents, and I think it looks better usually.
It's the kind of gold standard now, right, these days. But you have quite a bit of overlap. I like that. Do you add like interlining here so they lay flat?
Yes.
Because I can feel it here when I touch it. Yeah, it's nice. Just so they don't gap.
Yeah.
And then in your collar, you do all hand padding, or do you use a Strobel machine?
No, we do hand padding. So the lapels and the collar is hand padded. The lining is filled in by hand. The buttonholes are made by hand. Okay. The collar is attached by hand. I will show it on a different piece, a finished piece.
Yeah. So let's look at a finished jacket.
Yes. Maybe this one?
This one, okay. What do we have here?
So now we have what I think are very typical Viennese shoulders and sleeves.
Okay.
So the shoulder pads are very soft, quite thin.
Oh yeah, there's hardly anything.
Yes.
I mean, it's if you push here, it's like less than a centimeter maybe.
Yes,
exactly. Doubled up.
Yeah.
So it's very, but it's there, I can tell, but not much.
This client has very broad and very high shoulders, so no one has to add a lot of padding for his shoulders. But even with clients with sloped shoulders, the Viennese style is always just a tiny bit of padding.
Just a tiny bit of padding.
And the sleeves are very typical too. So you have a tiny bit of rope. It's not like the very flat Italian sleeves.
Like the Neapolitan sleeves. It's not a shirt sleeve.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a congrolino, super raised sleeve head. It's very kind of close to natural, but not quite. Okay. So let's say I have a shoulder that is like much lower on this side than on this side. Would you add the same amount of padding on both sides, or would you kind of correct and build up?
That's a good question. I usually, so no one has the same shoulder height on both sides. I usually ask my clients what they prefer. I think it's quite beautiful to cut exactly to a body that includes having a different height on each side of shoulder height. But some clients prefer to have it
symmetrical.
Yes, and I think a client should always get what they ask for, so what they prefer. So sometimes we cut them differently, and sometimes we level them out.
So one thing I see here that just catches my eye is you add that extra fold in here in the lining.
Yes,
and here
the
too.
center back.
So it gives you a little more room. Is that a Hedi Rochowanski thing, or is that a Viennese style?
No, I think it's. I think all bespoke tailors do it. I didn't know it's a special thing. We do it in women's tailoring. We do it in men's tailoring. I did it like that in Britain. Nice. The Viennese tailors do it, so I guess it's just the way some extra
And
room for movement.
Got it. And here the pockets are more like flat,
Yeah.
but the quarters are kind of somewhat open. I mean, it's hard to tell on a hanger when you don't see it on the person worn.
It's quite subtle again. It's not too stylish, not too strict.
And then the buttonhole, you're going for is there a certain buttonhole length? I think of like, Anderson and Shepherd. It's like really long buttonholes. In Vienna, not too long, not too short?
I think it has to match the lapel width. We don't do the same buttonhole length on the lapels for every jacket. So if you have a wide lapel, you maybe want a longer one, and if you have a very narrow lapel, you want a shorter one.
And the collar and the gorge height, it's not super high.
Yeah.
It's not like 1930s low.
Yeah.
It's kind of in between.
I think the Viennese tailors prefer the very long collar for the last decades. It changed a bit, luckily. So I think till the 90s, early 2000, the collar was really long. I don't like that look too much, to be honest. I think it looks too big, it looks old. But I definitely don't like a very short collar. So I think the perfect height for the gorge line should be like that. So it should point to the base of your neck.
To the base of your neck. Let's have a look at pants.
Yep.
Which one do you want me to take? This one?
This one maybe.
Okay. There you go. Take it out?
Yep.
All right.
So, in Austria, most men prefer trousers cut underneath the belly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not high-waisted.
Why is that, you think?
I don't know, really. I wish they would prefer high-waisted trousers, but they don't.
Because, I'm the opposite, right? I'm like, I want it to be at least at the belly button. Because then, even if you have side adjusters, you don't need a belt.
Yeah.
It stays up all day. I find it so much more comfortable. But for some reason, that is not very Viennese.
Yeah, I don't know when that started, really. I'm quite sure, 100 years back, men,
high.
of course, wore high-waisted trousers. But
well, yeah, you could see the rise. It's just from the
very
bottom
short,
of the flare it's quite short.
Yeah. Of course, we do have clients who ask for high-waisted trousers, but I think the most typical style is underneath the belly.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And then, is there anything else that's typical, or is it all here? You have like a side adjuster with like some elastic.
Yeah.
You call those deck tops?
Yeah. So I think the most common style we do here at my workshop is side adjusters. The classic side adjusters and the special kind of side adjusters, which are a bit stronger, but more flat.
But then no suspender buttons typical? Or are Viennese suspender wearers or not really?
Not really, unfortunately. I'm trying to
convince them?
Get all my clients to wearing braces or wearing high-waisted trousers.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Hard work.
Sometimes it works.
And then, do you have a pleated front typically? I mean, here it's just ironed in. There's no real pleat. Depends on the customer, or
yes, depends on the style the customer is asking for, and also on the body type.
And then pockets typically, is it depending on the fabric?
Yes, and on the suit, if you want a very formal suit or more relaxed style, I think most times we make Italian pockets, like slightly slanted pockets, or side seam pockets.
And then here, I can see like the overlap is all like sewn in by hand. You give a little space here. You give a generous, 2.5, 3 centimeters?
Yes, at the back trousers.
At the back trousers with like an overlap stitch. You add a little bit of a Stoßband.
Yes.
Which is kind of a little protector
kick tape,
in here. Yeah, kick tape, good. And then All right. Do you do back pockets typically, or do you do no
Yes.
pockets?
So the most typical style is one on the right side.
Because most people are right-handed.
Yes.
But if they're left-handed, you switch them over.
But some say, please no back pockets. Some
Yeah.
say, I always put a lot of stuff in my pockets. Can I have two? So it depends really. I prefer the one on the right side because without back pockets it looks a bit naked, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I think if you know you wear a suit and you never put anything in anyways, like in your Frackhosen or tailcoat pants, and you don't need it. You can just skip the pockets altogether. Nice, okay. This is like a kind of a gray flannel, or is it blue-gray kind of thing?
Yes, blue from Holland and Sherry.
Holland and Sherry. So English fabric.
I love English cloth.
Okay. But I think, it has a reputation. So would you say most Viennese suits are made of English cloth or Italian cloth or other cloth?
Difficult to say. I'd say more English cloth, maybe.
Okay.
But it depends on the tailor you visit. So some tailors prefer Italian cloth and some prefer British cloth.
Okay. So would you say, most men prefer a two-piece suit or a three-piece suit?
Two-piece, probably.
Two-piece?
Yeah.
It's just not so cold anymore inside that you need
Exactly.
the waistcoat.
Yeah.
Okay. What about like single-breasted versus double-breasted? What do you notice?
Definitely way more single-breasted, but we cut a lot of double-breasted too, of course.
And so all the single-breasted jackets here mostly have like the notch lapel. I think I see one over there that has kind of a peak lapel, but even the peaks are not like, peak up.
Yes.
Like I think the Viennese style is very kind of straight, right? Very horizontal top line.
I think everything is very mild, nothing is
Exaggerated.
overexpressed.
Good. And then, for like a double-breasted suit or a single-breasted, do you have a lot of like two-button jackets, or is it like three-roll two?
Both really, half maybe.
Okay. And for the double-breasted, is it like a 6-2 or like 4-1, 4-2?
That differs. That's really depending on the client. So I feel like for single-breasted, they don't have the one style they go for.
Yeah.
So they say, what do you think? Which style would fit me? Or what? Let's have a look at the fitting. I'm a fan of having a look at the fitting, at the right proportions, So I don't do pockets for the first fitting, sometimes not even for the second fitting, because I want to have a look at it and then mark let's say the welt pocket, the breast pocket, and the flap pockets at the fitting on the client, so it's the perfect proportion.
Interesting. Okay. So when you kind of, make a pattern, do you use like Viennese books or Viennese styles, or do you use like just general patterns?
I cut a pattern for each client, of course. I don't work with block patterns. I'd say I use a mix of Austrian and German pattern cutting and of British pattern cutting.
Oh, interesting. Because I've seen you have all these beautiful books here. So you got this here is like the Müller und Sohn.
Yes, the old ones. I love the old Müller München from the 50s, 60s. It's really, really good. So they are looking really into alterations for every kind of difficult posture and every fault that can appear during a fitting process.
So yeah, they've always been very good at like...
Yes, very technical.
And also, when I look at these, it always looks like pristine. There's no wrinkle. It's always like der Alster Schlüpfer. They have these like funny names. Der Bauchsession am Dickbauch Raglan. Sportlicher Mantel, sporty overcoat, with a round belt, saddle in the front and back. Oh, interesting. The saddle style, they have. It's really cool to learn all this terminology that today people don't really use anymore, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one from the 50s and 60s. And then this one here says Wiener Herrenschneiderei. That's cool. Let's have a look at that one.
So if you want to see how it was cut 100 years ago, that's a very good example.
Peter Pöllinger, Maßschneiderei, Obersteiermark. Okay. So how do you find these books?
Online, mostly, flea markets.
So you're a big flea market person?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. We'd get along. I love flea
Perfect.
markets. Okay, this is interesting. So they talk about development, the system. Oh, the measurements are illustrated with a frack or a tailcoat, which is cool. How many tailcoats do you make per year?
Not that many, unfortunately. I love tailcoats. I feel like a lot of our clients, they are just starting a wardrobe, and you usually start with an all-rounder suit, a sports coat, a blazer,
That kind of
a
stuff.
couple of really good trousers.
Yeah. Single-breasted Sacco. Sacco means like jacket.
I think it's a very good example of very elegant, but at the same time very subtle lines and curves.
Yeah, you see the lapel here is definitely not flat. It's definitely a peak lapel, which looks great. And then there's, the double-breasted jacket. This is like a 6'2", rather wide overlap.
Yeah.
Then here the smoking, which is the
Tuxedo.
exactly, with the peak lapel here. They use like a wide grosgrain to show the lapel. And then this is the jacket for the person with a bit of a belly.
Yes.
But I mean, look, they're quite on the wider side. They're quite a bit wider than you, larger collar. The sport coat with the patch pockets, belted back with some pleats.
But I think what I like about them is there are no extremes, but at the same time they are not boring and straight.
Yeah. This is the Styria jacket, das Steirersacko with like the horn buttons, like it's like I think deer horn, right?
Yes.
The buckhorn,
Yes,
like and the flapped buttoned chest pocket, ulster coat, raglan, Hubertusmantel. Is that like a hunting thing?
No, maybe it used to be once, but it was very common till about 20 years ago. So everyone had one. And it's usually made from a very dark green lawn cloth.
And then you have, is this the saddle? Is it just in the front or also in the back?
Yes, and it has a very interesting armhole construction.
Like a raglan, or what's the specialty?
There's extra room for movement, so it's not the seams of the sleeve and the front part and back part of the jacket. They're not sewn together the normal way, so there's extra room for movement.
Interesting. And this is like a kind of a sleeveless coat? Or no, it's like a Pellerine,
Yes.
a Pellerine on top.
Wetterfleck. In Austrian it's called Wetterfleck or Wettermantel.
Wettermantel.
So if it's raining, you just put it on top of everything.
So it's one garment, or is it detachable?
It's one garment, and it's again made from loden cloth.
Yeah.
So if it's raining, the water will just.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. This was a lovely insight into the Wiener Herrenschneiderei. Thank you very much, Hedi.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.